Hello, and welcome to this special edition of the UBports Q&A. It's the 47th edition of this, but this one is really special since we now, as you may or may not know, the official news is that we are now an official foundation approved in Germany, which means that we are now what we have been waiting for such a long time is now official. The announcement was made yesterday on a really special day because that's exactly 2 years since Canonical dropped the news about dropping Ubuntu Touch and other phone-related things and wanted to focus on IoT instead of focusing on phones. So in that area, we took over all the responsibility that Canonical had at that time, and said that we will continue and make this operating system better and make an alternative to Android based on GNU Linux. And also prior to this announcement from Canonical, Smooth, one of our biggest sponsor and has been an amazing sponsor for 2 years now, over 2 years. They was actually here before Canonical dropped the news. And they asked us to sponsor the startup of the foundation in exchange for a really good operating system for phones. And we now had delivering both. We now have a pretty decent operating system. It's upgrading to Senior with a lot of improvements. And from Smooth, we now have the foundation, a non-profit foundation that's registered in Germany, which now means that we can operate fully as a foundation, even though we have been operating as a foundation since the last 2 years, but now we are official and finally official. So we are registered as a Stiftung Foundation under German law, if you know that, which means that we have all the legal behind to deliver and stay open source, which is behind the foundation legal papers. And as you may or may not have seen, there is some extra people in here that you may or may not know have not been on this Q&A before, but are a key persons in the UBports Foundation. So first we have Florian, which you have seen before.
Yes, hello. I'm still the old Florian.
He's still the old Florian, and he is part of the UBports Foundation. He is a member of the board, and he's an awesome person in general. And then we have Avold, which you haven't seen before, but he is... hello, Avold.
Hi, hello guys.
He's also part of the board members. He's more of he's a Smooth guy, as we call him, the Smooth guy. He's from Smooth, and he has done amazing work on all the legal issues and the behind the scene work and talking with lawyers and all these huge amount of tasks. And he is also an awesome person in general. So yeah. And the third person we have in the foundation is Ricardo. Hello, Ricardo.
The camera doesn't focus on you if you don't turn on your microphone.
Hello.
Hello. So Ricardo, he's an ex-Canonical employee working on the phone before Canonical dropped it, and he has amazing knowledge in the business side of everything regarding the foundation, legal and licensing and all these things that we need to handle in the background. He's also awesome on the development side because he is a developer. So he is also a great person, an awesome person in general. I have to say that to everyone because I said it to one of them.
You need some more adjectives in your vocabulary.
and the fourth person that is in the foundation is Jan. He's not here today, but he's also an amazing person in general. He has also done amazing on the side of German side, because he knows German. He's from German. He's from Germany, and he has done amazing on starting up the foundation and on all that, writing the legal works and all that, together with Avold. And he's also done amazing on the community side. Was one of the original founders beside me, that started the community and grown it from a little sapling to a big tree. And then lastly is the me, which is the chairman of the board of directors. So we are now the 5 people that
Who are you?
Who are me? So I was the one that started the whole thing here. So first we started as a porting community, a place where the community went together, talked to each other about how porting Ubuntu Touch in general. But then then Canonical dropped the news, and I was the one, I think it was on Google Plus, that said,
You
hey,
sure did.
let's continue this. I'm not giving up it easily. The momentum of the wheel is rolling already. Let's spinning a little bit faster. I think I said something along those lines, which got picked up pretty quickly by every news site. And I think the most of the comments we had was positive, but we still had the doubts that no one can beat Android and iOS, and all this. But I think we proved them wrong. I think we actually did what we have achieved already. And the journey from here will be even stronger now that we have an official foundation.
I meant your name.
Yes. I know that. But I'm in general nothing special. I'm just from a guy from Norway. But yeah, everyone knows me here already.
That's Marius, by the way.
Yes. Oh, you meant okay. I get it.
I meant your name.
Yes. Okay, so let's segue this into Ricardo talking about why the foundation is important.
All right. Thank you, Myers. Yeah, guys, for those of you listening, great to be here on this is for the first time for us, for myself. I hope it's also great for Avold. So as Mario said, I was part early days in Canonical of the team that put together Ubuntu Touch back in 2011. So in one way or another, I've always been close to Ubuntu Touch, right? At least for a good 4 or 5 years there inside of Canonical, I was part of the foundations team, so always very close to the things that Marius does, for example, right? Everything related to the low level, everything related to board enablement, and everything like hybrids and all the itty little bits that all the time is kind of hard to find people to work on. But yeah, those parts. And from there, a little team of maybe like 20 people inside of Canonical grew to like over 100 plus, right? So yeah, Ubuntu Touch has always been very close to my heart, because even though before Canonical, I used to work in a lot of other open source projects like Linux Mapes and Gentoo and other things. Ubuntu Touch was kind of one that I sort of saw from the very, from conception to product, let's say. So seeing it then get dropped by Canonical was a bit of a hurtful situation, right? But for other reasons of life, right, I also ran into Marius and Smooth and the other guys at that big Mobile World Congress back there, right? A couple of years ago.
That would be 16?
17.
17. February
Yeah.
17.
February 17, correct, exactly. So Mobile World Congress 2 years ago, and that's where I really met a bunch of the people, right? Mainly Marius, and everything sort of happened around that month, those 2 months or so. Canonical dropped the ball, people got more involved, like other people wanted to support the project, and Marius said, okay, let's move forward, right? I sort of joined that party very late, right? During those months, I helped do some technical things, right? But from there, the momentum sort of caught on, right? And it became apparent that if we really wanted to not the community itself, but rather if we wanted the vision of this community, right, to go beyond, right, just the project that it was back then, right, because back then it was about taking something that was made and, you know, sort of extending it to the lesser known devices, let's say, right. That's completely different to what Ubuntu Touch is right now, right. UBports is literally the center of the universe for everything Ubuntu Touch. So it was very clear that if we wanted to move forward at the velocity that sort of Canonical left, let's say, because even though Canonical killed the project, when they killed it, they did it at a moment where Ubuntu Touch was known, right? I mean, hell, we were there at Mobile World Congress because of Ubuntu Touch, right? And the Mobile World Congress before that, half of the Canonical space was all about Ubuntu Touch, right? So, and it's always been, you know, it's always been the underdog, let's say, but it's always been there and very much alive, right? So it was definitely important to say, okay, if we're going to take this the next level, we have to have a way to organize ourselves just beyond the development community, right? Just beyond the enthusiast community, right? It has to be able to grow into something more that is not only crawling, but that can very quickly run, right? And even fly, right? So of course, we're taking the cue from other projects out there, right? Other big projects that have organized themselves as foundations or other kind of governing bodies that helps give structure to the party, let's say, right? We said, well, Marius actually was the first one with some people from Smooth that, you know, Smooth was already helping support Marius. So the conversation came to the table. I don't know exactly how, right? But it came to the table. Marius and Ewell can talk more about that. But from there, you know, like there was no stopping it, right? It was clear that was the answer. It's like, okay, yeah, actually, let's do that, right? I mean, if we're really going to take on this huge backpack, right, we need to be strong, right? So exactly, why a foundation, right? I mean, there's plenty of foundations out there for open source, right? There's the GNOME Foundation, there's the Purple Foundation, Cloud Native, Linux Foundation, Document Foundation, right? All these bodies, what they do, and they do it all in the same manner, right? Is try to organize the less appealing items, let's say, that a project as big as this need to address, right? It is very exciting always, of course, to work on the development, to bring up new devices, to fix the camera bug so it's no longer inverted, like all these things, right? But at the end of the day, you also need to do a lot of other very tedious things if you really want that product to become ubiquitous in the market, right? If you really want people to see you for what you are, but at a global scale, right? It doesn't matter how hard 1, 2, or 3 people can shout, right? They will never be able to shout around the whole world, right? You need support for that. You need to be able to send that message around and have other people relay it for you. And structuring that is hard, right? And it costs money, right? So at the very bottom line, right, one of the things that the foundation does is try to organize all the people that have some kind of allegiance with the product, the community, or whatever it might be, and would like to donate money or effort or whatever, right? And channel it through one governing body, right? One body where people can really do a tax payoff, let's say, right? As simple as that, right? I mean, if somebody has money and they want to put it into a project, it is much more tax effective for them to give it to a foundation, right? Why? Because they can, you know, pay less taxes. Simple as that. If it's just, you know, let's send money to this account or, you know, go to this Patreon page and so on, these things are not completely covered by that, right? So it also puts a lot of let's say, it puts the brakes on for some people that would maybe want to contribute more on the financial manner, right? Because, you know, we're all used to, okay, all the developers are coming in, they like to work on this and so on. But there's also a bunch of people that really believe on the ideals, the goals, and the visions of the project, but they don't have the skills to, let's say, enable a new phone, right? Or something like that, right? So how do they do it, right? Well, some of these people actually feel, okay, well, instead of me spending 1 or 2 days a week working on this, I'm going to pay some money, right? I'm going to give some money in so that somebody else can do it on my behalf, right? Somebody else can, you know, use that money to the best manner, right? Either marketing, either events, whatever it might be, to spread the word of Ubuntu Touch. So it's no longer, you know, a few thousand users, but it's a few 100,000 or a few 100 million users or billion users or whatever you want to call it, right? It's about scaling this project out, right? I stand by the belief that doing something like this is definitely a strong idea, right? because we have a very cool community in hand and a very strong project itself, right? So being able to push this forward is of paramount importance, right? So, well, having said that, right, as I mentioned before, funding is critical, right? If you see these other foundations, they structure around sponsorship programs, right? They try to find companies or people in the enterprise community, let's say, that use this product or that would like to use this product, right? And they become patrons, right? But at a larger scale, no longer at the individual scale of, somebody gives me 50 euros, but rather much bigger than that, right? And through that, the point of the foundation is to really support this community, because we have a big community, right? A community that has needs, a community that has events to attend, that wants to, move their message out, that wants help getting organized, right? That has legal needs as well in different markets, right? All of these things are why a foundation is there, right? It's really to support the community, to empower the community, to give the community everything that it needs, right? It's not about coming in and saying, this is what we do and that's it. No, it's rather about, what do you guys need, right? What do you guys need, or what can we do for you to really achieve those common goals that we see for the product at a global scale, right? And what do you see for the product on the day-to-day of every single one of those contributors, right? Because without those contributors, there would be no community, there would be no project, and there would be nothing to shoot forward to, right? And the other thing that the foundation helps do is organize all of the commercial aspects, right? So partnerships, for example, all those partners that we have been working with as a disconnected community, right? We get this phone from these guys, they want to launch a new product. Okay, let's see if we can enable it and so on. All those things are much better structured if you have one single vehicle, right? Especially also when it comes to marketing and PR, right? Being able to buy hardware, ship hardware here and there, have a expense account to really move all these things around, right? That's hard on an individual basis, right? If I tell you tomorrow, hey Dalton, here receive this 10,000 devices and then ship them to this warehouse in China, right?
I would tell you no.
Exactly, right? Or you would say, well, maybe I'll do it, but the bill was a few thousand, right? Who's going to pay for that? So it becomes a problem, right? And the only thing that does is introduce friction, right? That's what we're here to resolve, right? That's what a foundation, a governing body like this resolves, right? But it's also a way to keep the ideals, the visions, and the goal tied to a rock, right? in a solid place where you can always point to it and say, well, those people over there represent an elected body or an elected manner of the community, right? And therefore, right, all the let's say the values, right, that are there represent that community, right, and vice versa, right? So that's the working relationship we want to find with this community, and we really hope that we can empower the community to do much more, right, and to go that extra mile and to really go to all the corners where you guys really want to go, right? That's what we're here for, and hopefully we can do it. So thank you for the opportunity to do it.
To get to where we are already. Thank you to everyone who's helped us get here. Because it's
and one more thing, right? I mean, it's not that this is an overnight thing, right? And everyone will talk more about this, but right, this is an effort that has been ongoing for a couple of years, right? And in fact, that we've already been operating in some parts as a foundation with basically the money from the sponsors and so on, the big sponsors, right? Not the minor lanes. Has always been operating as a bit of a foundation and so on. And we've been trying this. So it's not about that, okay, tomorrow we need to figure out what to do now, right? It's okay, we already sort of have our structure in place, right? So even though we had been more under shadows before, right, we're still there, right? Things were also happening because of things that happened there in those shadows. So having said that, the next person can for sure talk more about this, right?
Yeah, you did allude a little bit to there being a lot of work done to raise the foundation, how it's been over 2 years. If I'm right, the proposal itself was brought to us at Mobile World Congress 17, 2 months before Canonical dropped the project. But the person who can really talk about this here is Ewald, who has been working with legal counsel and so many people to get this done for us. So, Ewald, would you like to talk a little bit more about how we got here?
Yeah, I hope I can do it in a little time that we have, because it was a long work. First of all, thank you for inviting us, that we can show ourselves to the community. Basically, indeed, we were at the back end working hard to get the foundation raised in this case. We started a long time ago. For me, it's a long time ago. But before that I started, it was the founder from the owner of Smooth, who started with Marius. That was in 2016. They met in Germany, and that was the Canonical was there. Marius was there. Marius was first time he has his speech, and there they make some agreements that they want to start further. Can we raise can we work close together and perhaps start a foundation? So the seed was dropped over there, and later on, when Canonical pulled out the plug, the seed was growing and growing. So basically, at that time, I was working just a couple of months for Smooth. And then our shareholder asked me, can you assist? UBports was not the name yet at that moment, but we were figuring out what should be the name. UBports came up, and the UMI, etc. We had all that kind of discussions. But basically, UBports was a strong name, and the foundation is now called UBports. And I helped them to get a lot of things done. First, it was the legal part, and how can you start with the legal part? Basically, you can ask somebody to assist you. So basically, in this case, who has done it before? We discussed it a little bit before this meeting, and it means that we asked Document Foundation. So here I also want to thanks the Document Foundation for assisting us. They did a really good job for us. They assisted a little with how we should start with it, and etc. etc. But then I met Jan, who's not in now. Jan helped me because my German is not that good, but I needed him for the lawyers in Germany. We went to Germany for the lawyers. We visited accountants to get investigated what was required for the foundation. So basically, Jan was helping me with the German language, and we made the documents and we prepared them. And basically, we put them in. That was, I think, half year ago for the first time to the Berlin government. Then they said, okay, we have some more questions. And based on the questions they had, we provided them with the new answers, and the answers were sufficient that they can say, okay, here you are. We believe in you, that you have a good process, that you have a good solid UBports foundation, and we say yes to you, and we can do the next steps now. If you want to look at the website to find the bank account, I have to say to you that it's still not there. We're working on that one. Also for the tax office. So basically, if you have that kind of questions, I hope you have already been patient enough, but I count on you that you can be a little bit more patient for that. That will become up very soon now. Whatever about Smooth, I can imagine that you have a lot of questions about Smooth. Smooth is a company that really enjoys and likes to work with open source software. The software that we are using is Ubuntu. In this case, it will be GNOME. You know already that. And why do we support UBports? That's basically the intrinsic motivation of our shareholder, not only from him, also from me, of course. Otherwise, somebody else should sit here. But I really like to assist UBports. I really like the idea of the freedom that there is. If you can compare it with the two other, we cannot compete with them, but there are two other OSs. You know already what. And we like to have an opportunity for everybody who wants to be free of choice. And that's basically what we want to provide as UBports, and also with the Ubuntu Touch. That's why Smooth said, okay, what can we do for UBports? Now, as I told you already, we did a lot of expense on the lawyers, on the accountants. And that's basically what we sponsored. We also sponsored events. We also sponsored the trips we had together to share our ideas, to talk about it. How could we continue. And as you see now, that's what happened now. We are a foundation, and then now we can continue. Ricardo already told what the purpose is of the foundation. So that's basically what we want to achieve. We achieved it. And that's why Spoons is very happy to say, okay, we sponsored it. We like to assist you for a long time, if possible. And yeah, that could also be a question for Smooth. That is it also an opportunity for Smooth to become to get benefit of it? Basically, that's not the case for Smooth. Smooth is just a sponsor, nothing more, nothing less. That means that we say it's up to you, UBports. It's up to you for the community to do what's best that we can do, and yeah, let's do that. Also, I want to thank the community. It's already, we started, I guess, with 50 people. Yeah, and it was the Fairphone Telegram group where we started with.
More or less, that's kind of where Smooth came into the community.
Exactly.
And, oh geez, at the time, I think the rest of the community was around 150 people total.
Yeah, I think so. And as you can see now, yeah, everybody can see. We're growing each day, and that's really good to see. Yeah, thanks for your patience that yeah, you were waiting for the foundation. You were waiting for the new things that has to come up, and now we can really proceed with that. Also, I want to thank the people we have seen. For example, Fairphone. They assist us with the Fairphone in the past. Now we already seen that Fairphone has stopped providing Fairphone 2. Okay, but that's up to
yeah.
So basically, new phones will come in, old phones will go out, and that's basically what we do. Yeah, that's it for me for the moment. You can always have, if you have questions, ask me. And thank you very much again.
All right. Thank you. And yeah, everyone's going to be around here. We are taking questions from the live chats and the forums very shortly. We do have one more member here who hasn't gotten the chance to talk yet, though. Florian, I think maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the community initiatives that have come from what was before the Grassroots Foundation and now the Legal Foundation.
Yeah. So maybe just two sentences, because most people know me now for some time already. I'm appearing on the Q&As also quite regularly, I would say. So I think I don't need to too much introduce myself. But of course, if you didn't notice me in the function as a board member, or maybe some people didn't know even that I'm in the board of the foundation, of the upcoming foundation. Yes, I am. I somehow stumbled across the project also in 2016, 17, around something like this, because the first thing what I was looking for was a kind of a backup device for my existing BQ, because I just bought as a user the E5 for myself. And at the time already, it was hard to get new devices. So I was looking for other possibilities, and I came across the ports. And somehow I stumbled into the first Telegram. No, it was the forum, I think, which had a few people inside only. It was really small. And I didn't really get what they were doing, but I understood, okay, there is a possibility to put Ubuntu Touch on different hardware than what was sold by Canonical or what was sold by their partners. So I found it quite interesting and very terrific idea. And I quickly understood that there are a few people behind. Maybe it was 10 at this time, or mostly maybe 15 people that were into that. Some of them, unfortunately, we all also lost on this way up to here. They are not any longer with the project. I don't remember any names, to be honest, but I remember a few people that were quite nice guys also, yeah. And they tried to contribute already at this time when there was no real community, no real foundation idea, nothing. They just were, let's say, a circle of friends, to make a really shameless pun. And so I found it interesting, but I was not really participating in an active manner. And that got a little bit more and more because I was asking questions, I got answers. I bought a phone that I was not able to port at all because it was just too dumb. Yeah? But I didn't give up at this point, and so I met all these people on a let's say friendship base at the beginning with no ideas that I would get involved into the project. But when it became clear that something was going on because Canonical was delaying the OTA, there was the information flow started stuttering, and so we noticed already before the official announcement that there would be no further phone and mobile device development that something was going on, and we're thinking, okay, should we just do nothing about that, or we can continue in some way? There are a few let's say doubts that everything was going well. But when they came up with the news, I think we had an immediate live chat on that evening, on that day, or maybe on the next day. I couldn't say this for sure. And we changed ourselves into the next gear, and we said, okay, come on, there is Marius. There are the other guys that invested so much time into that. Yeah? There were already, as Ewald said, initiatives from a sponsor. We had a lot of things going on. Why we should throw this away? Yeah? So I immediately perceived it as a chance to continue something that should be continued. Yeah, maybe for our own reasons, for not throwing away our own work, maybe for helping the people that are now were stuck with their phones in some way, maybe for just the future. We didn't know. So I mostly slipped into this community part, and now coming back to today, where 2 years have passed. We can say the idea of growing a community, although it's quite slow, or it was quite slow at the beginning, and we took a long time to gain traction and to get more people on board and more developers, and we are still calling in every other Q&A, we're calling for developers. There are some initiatives now that are really great, and we managed to get people together also face-to-face for real hackathon meetings, for live sessions, for documentation. It's still maybe a little bit slow, but I must say for the amount and the size of the project, it's already huge, that you can rally together 5 to 10 people and they just say, yes, we come, we do this, we do that. Yeah? They want to help their own ideas, they want to help the community. So as everybody might know, there was one hackathon in Vienna, which I was very proud to host. Already kind of as a foundation support. I mean, I invited them just for a dinner. Yeah? That was more or less what the foundation did in this case. Yeah, but I can imagine that this was a test balloon in some way. There will be actually a second hackathon now that is also very focused on a very core topic. And Johannes asked me again, maybe it's the right moment to announce it here. On the 4th and 5th of May, there will be Deco 2 hackathon in Ulm in Germany. So they already organized everything by themselves. Yeah? We didn't really do much about it, but we said, okay, we want to have a strong topic again. So everybody is not so happy with the email client at the moment. So let's do a Deco 2 hackathon. And I'm pretty sure they will be awesome again, and they will bring forward that part, that app. So almost the foundation is not really now pushing or motivating people to do this or that, but if somebody has an idea, please come up, and we can try to help. Yeah? That's also something we want to do in the future. We want to try to help the community get their events done, get the news spread, get the marketing done to a certain point, and hey, there are stickers. I mean, we can send around stickers everywhere, yeah, and maybe we have some merch in the future also, yeah. The foundation, and I talked with Rudy from the French local team when I was in Brussels, and I really saw that that there is so much coming back from the community when you support them also with little things only. It's sometimes maybe just organizing, making the planning for an event, taking away the load of communication from the developers and helping them to get to being heard in the community. Yeah? So I will stay on that part a little bit in the community. I'm also doing, of course, background stuff like infrastructure work. So I'm still in the committee for the infrastructure and so on. But to be honest, the work in the foundation, we are just ramping up now. And I can imagine that I would really like to help with events and communication also, because I also like to communicate with people and meet new people all the time. But let's see. I mean, the roles are not set in stone. We don't have a job description for everyone now. Yeah, we just will see what we have to do, and we need to keep flexible. Also, I think there will be workloads. I mean, also somebody has to do bookkeeping. It's a very boring thing, but let's see.
Yeah, that's some of the less fun things that Ricardo was talking about, I think.
Yes, then they're not so fun things. But hey, that's in a good business, the books need to be tidy. It's like that. Yeah. You cannot avoid
it's
it.
like looking at it's like looking at a fast car, right? The car is very nice outside, but have you ever seen it from below? Right? Cars are very horrible from below. There's a lot of cars there, all greasy and dirty, but they need to be there, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my part. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really proud of us and what we achieved. I think we can pat our shoulders a little bit.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go.
So,
Couple things to add.
Yeah, do that first.
First, yes, we have a lot of stickers. I finally got my box, guys. It's been weeks since this thing was sent. But yes, we have a lot of stickers at any events that I come to. This box is going with me. Other thing, Florian is the one who actually, I believe, was the first one to greet me when I joined, saying something similar to welcome to
the rabbit hole.
Welcome to the rabbit hole. You've entered a land of confusion. And he was so right.
That was in Netherlands, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was actually about the porting thing, because I was already so much confused, and we were only device porters in the beginning, and so I just thought about some Alice in Wonderland quote. I didn't get it right, but nevertheless, it was fun.
But it was in Netherlands, if I don't recall correctly.
Wonderland.
Wonderland. Okay.
Not the Netherlands.
Wonderland. Alice in Netherlands is not the
Okay, so I will take a little shortcut, not shortcut, a little side, and go a little history. If I can share my screen here real quick. Can everyone see my screen?
Oh boy.
So yeah, so let's go a little bit back in time. Thanks for Wayback Machine for providing this. The CSS is a little bit broken here, but this was the first website that I made back then. And this was
proudly powered by WordPress.
Yes. And back then, this is so far back. This is from 2015, the 3rd of 2015. So how many years is that now? That's like 7 years ago.
No, it's 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Oh god, my math. Okay, 4 years ago. 4 years ago this started. It started before this, but this was when the website actually got started. And back then it was all about porting. As you can see, work together, go make Ubuntu to access. Okay, so my English wasn't as great back then.
Yes,
but this was the first thing. And this was the forum back then. We had 2 members back then. Which was me and another one. This was also PHP based. The next up, this was a little upgrade, a little bit color,
okay,
more
we got
text.
Background CSS. I like it.
Yes, still powered by WordPress, and it was copyright me. Copyright with expect a date. Okay. A little bit more text. Still the same goal. You see, UBports have come together before it was separate.
UBports came together, literally.
Yes. After this was the forum. At that time, we had 6 members.
That's a 9.
That's a 9 numbers.
Sorry.
The webs. This is the same website, but this is to show we only had one device that was not at all stable. So this was really, really early days. We are still at 2015.
We started with the 1. You started with the 1.
Yes, I started with 1. This was back in 2016, right before.
That is December, yeah.
Yeah, so this was the forum at that time. This is the first time we see actually someone recognizable.
Hey, that's me.
That's him. Not too bad of a forum back then, but still not great. This was a website we had back then. This is also for 2016.
Looks like a website.
Yeah, this was completely modeled after how apps worked on Ubuntu Touch and how they looked back then. So this is
God, you're right.
a complete ripoff of that. And then we had
too many memories.
Too many memories. After this, we had this website. This was the upgrade, pretty much the same website as this, but removed all the Ubuntu Touch stuff and made it white. This was okay. After that, we come to this website, which is what we had at right some month after MWC. This is still the
This
one
was
that
after the drop.
Yeah, this was after the drop. Yes. So this was before the drop. I think no, this was also
Nope, right after.
But this was before the drop. Then we removed all the Ubuntu Touch. No, yeah, all the Ubuntu Touch. It doesn't look like this anymore. We removed all that, and now we had this. And today we have this, as you all are familiar with.
Just shows how much we've grown since then, and
Yeah.
how just absolutely
this.
essential the foundation is to everything we're doing.
From this, that was, yeah, devices back then was just one.
All right. Jeez, I didn't want to go on a nostalgia trip today. Sorry. Not again, at least.
Not again.
All right. This is probably a good point to pause, take a breath, and thank all of our sponsors who make the foundation, our show, our infrastructure, all of it possible. So, excuse me, thank you to everyone who's supporting us through PayPal, Patreon, or LibrePay. Those are all patreon.com/LibrePay, patreon.com/UBports, librepay.com/UBports, and ubports.com/donate. I'd also like to thank our company sponsors, including Smooze. With the representative here, it seems a little bit different than normal. Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, Packet.net, and so many others. You can find them on ubports.com/sponsors. And also to our patrons at the sponsor level, including Darko Balka, Laurentin Tilleman, and Morgan McMillan. I'm sorry.
You butchered their name.
I did, but let's get into some questions. So, we take these questions every Q&A from our forum, live chat on YouTube, and Telegram, and Riot if I would remember to open it at any point. You can find links to all of our groups down in the video description to join us on our community. So let's get to some questions from the forum, shall we?
Yep.
So first one comes from Loops. In what way will this becoming a foundation affect our day-to-day running of UBports? And I'm going to add that this is probably for the short term.
So the answer to this is not much, really, because we have been operating as a foundation since we said we would start the foundation.
Foundation-like, so with
foundation-like.
Board structure in place and everything is what that means.
Yeah. The community will be all the same. There's no change there. The only change is that we have papers saying that we are officially, legally allowed to operate as a foundation. We are allowed to accept money. Accept money without paying taxes, because that's what non-profit do. And we also allowed to do the things legally. Not saying that we did it legally, but do it the formal way. Maybe Ricardo can add a little bit to this. He's the
Well, about the illegal part, I don't know. That's up to you. I can't say anything for you. I mean, I hear jails in Norway are very nice, but it's your own thing.
Yeah, better than my house.
Well, there you go. Maybe it might have been all a plan just to get you in a better place. But the reality is, I mean, all the questions that are in the different channels, I think, and the forums, they all sort of go along the same line, right? How do things change, right? That's the summary of it, right? How is it going to change? Right? Well, the intention is not for it to change, not in a well, you're different people now, or now I have to answer to somebody else or something like that. No, that's not it, right? It will change, but for the better, right? It will change in the sense that we are going to be able to multiply all of that sponsorship income that is coming in. We're going to be able to better route that money, right? For events, for travel. For example, when Dalton says, I have this box of stickers, finally it came here after so much time. Next event, that's not how it works, right? How it works is that everybody gets stickers, right? Is that people who are vocal, people who go to places. If let's say inside of our community, just to give an example of how foundations work, inside of our working community, the same way that Florian said in Ulm, there is this hackathon, blah, 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 there's this thing's going to happen, right? Well, we have thousands of people in our community, right? If somebody wakes up tomorrow and says, I have this event happening over here, right? And this is a person who is very vocal in this community, has, contributed to the community, has contributed work or whatever, or just wants to go out there and express the word of Ubuntu Touch, right? And really get that to many more people. They come to the foundation and they ask for that support. They say, can I go to that event? Could you help cover part of those costs? Could you help me get there? Could you help market my presence at that event? Well, those are the kind of things that the foundation then decides, right? What we can do, right? But that's the point of it, right? Right now, that is a very linear process, right? Where on a much lesser scale, financial scale, maybe the closer friends of Marius can have that degree of presence, let's say, right? But we want to open that up, right? I mean, we are a community. We're aiming to be a worldwide community, right? I mean, we want to really blanket the world with the vision and the goals of Ubuntu Touch, right? As the product that it is today, right? A product not bound to any company, for example, right? That is a powerful thing, right? We always think the reason why this community keeps growing and the reason why Ubuntu Touch is still alive is because it has a space, right? In the market, right? Simple as that. People didn't want it, we wouldn't be here, right? People want it. So it's not going to change, right? If anything, it's going to get better. The things you're doing are going to become easier, right? Your exposure to the community, your exposure to the world is going to become bigger, right? The foundation will work closely with the heads of the community, let's say, people in the different steering positions, so senior stakeholders, let's call it, right, within the community, right? To see how we can empower you to do the activities that you're doing right now, but even better, right? The foundation brings management experience, let's put it that way, right? And this is not about managing you, but rather it's about helping you manage the expectations of the work you're doing, right? Helping you manage the expectations of the community, right? It's not that there was a question over there. I mean, we can address that directly afterwards, but, are you going to be managing someone? No, we're not going to be managing someone, right? Everybody is working out of their own desires, right? We're not going to manage it, but we're going to make it easier, right? We're going to create structure in place for that. We're going to create process for that, right? And what happens right after that is that the throughput of people just increase, right? If you know what to do, right? If sometimes you don't have to spend too much time figuring out who to ask for what, or, who can help me in doing these things, right? Foundation is there for you, right? That's what's going to change, right? Things will get easier. Things will have much more velocity, right? That's why we're here. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So Johannes put this in concrete a bit. Can the foundation pay, for example, travel expenses for people traveling to hackathons? That's one concrete way that things can change.
Exactly. That's one concrete way that things can change. Again,
the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. But also, the more important thing is we're here to not just take some money now and then be able to provide for that, but rather create a machine or an engine that will make sure that there is a constant flow of cash for those kind of activities from now to years to come, right? So it's not just right now we set up, we take some of the money we have and we restructure it and organize it. No, it's about literally growing that massively so that it's no longer 2 or 3 people going to these events, but rather, you know, I don't see why not in a couple of years' time we could have an Ubuntu Touch Summit, right? Let's get the most vocal 200 or 300 members of that community somewhere for a weekend. Why not, right? I mean, these are the kind of things why foundations are there for, right? And that an individual by themselves can definitely not do, right? Yeah?
Yep.
Exactly. Up next, I will butcher this too. Vartohas. Let's go with that. His first question, are there any specific plans to use the foundation to enter, emphasis my own, or legal cooperations? I believe he was specifically asking about legal cooperations, contracting with other companies, things like that.
Yeah. So there is no legal body, let's say, right now, that can provide partnerships such as the ones that we have right now, as you know, right? What we have right now is handled on a personal basis and sort of openly, right? But this can never scale for if there is a downstream company or something like that that wants to use Ubuntu Touch to solve a market need of their own, right? So the answer is yes, right? The foundation is there as a body to not only channel sponsorship, income, and so on, but also to channel commercial engagements. And by commercial engagements, I don't mean that the foundation is going to be selling Ubuntu Touch, right? Because it's a foundation, right? But the foundation is the center of the ecosystem, let's say, around where different players, right, that use Ubuntu Touch for X, Y, Z come and gather around, right? And everybody is what I said before, right? We have contributors that contribute code, that contribute changes, that enable phones, that contribute art, that do marketing activities, that do community activities, right? Not everybody does the same thing, but now we also have we have a growing list of contributors that contribute money, right? Some of these are persons, some of these become to be companies, some of these are small companies. We're trying to also get bigger companies, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's putting something in, but the center of gravity, let's say, right, for the structure part of the processes is the foundation, right? So yeah, I mean, of course, the foundation will engage in those partnerships, right? It will support our partners, right? All of these companies we're working with that are doing enablement and so on. The foundation is a body that they can sign a paper with, right? You have no idea how important it is for people that actually have money on the line, right? Because if these people are investing millions in bringing devices to market, it is very important for them to have somebody to sign a document with, right? And this is critical for the broad community to understand, right? Just having a name that you can sign a document with, that is already puts you at a different scale, right? So yes, we will
absolutely. All right. Next question. The foundation was established in Germany. Does that change anything concrete about how the project is structured? Maybe there are legal...
we all have to speak German now. That's it, right? That's the only thing. All of our communications, all the channels, everything is in German, right? But just that's the only change, right?
UBports Supergroup going to become German. 2 hours. Here we go. This is going to be great.
Exactly.
I can't speak German.
We should have done this on 1st of April.
So the proper answer for this is no. We are not going to speak German, and nothing is going to change because it's in Germany. The only thing that's is that it has to be in one country, and Germany is the one where, first of all, there's most people in the community are actually from Germany, and second of all, those are the same where the documentation is and has a good law system for this kind of projects.
Exactly.
I think when you get approved a foundation in Germany with that what we have filed, that was the hardest thing to do, but we were successful. So every other country has to accept that we are really a foundation. So it's a high level of legal security that we have.
If Germany thinks they can do it, nobody will doubt us. That's what Florian is saying.
Yes. No, really. I mean, besides being a joke a little bit, but you know, the role of Germany in Europe is quite a big one, or a strong one. It's a strong position because they have a strong economy at the moment. Now Britain will leave, so probably UK was not a good choice. Would not have been a good choice for the foundation. Maybe, yeah. If we want to have, for example, subcontractors, if you want to transfer money and so on, if you are in the center of Europe, it's easy to get all those people involved without much effort. Yeah, of course, there is also some kind of bias here, maybe because there are a lot of German users, what we can see from our stats and activities and stuff. I don't know if this is really fair, but yes,
VPNs probably.
Maybe, yes. But it's really like that. I think the position is not so important, except for what I said, for a tough and legal check that we had, and when we get approved there, it's great. But yeah, it has also some small benefits, maybe to attract people that say, okay, I will donate into a German foundation because I'm sure it's a good one and it's being checked thoroughly. The tax and finance guys from Germany, they will be after us because, you know, we have to provide them with all the information and so on and so on. We will not lose the money that the people put into that foundation if it's checked by German tax.
In Germany, is sort of like the banner holder in Europe for everything related to personal privacy and personal freedom, right? When it comes to that. It's, you know, like, or at least it's kind of a place where you hear more about it, let's put it that way, right? There's more, other foundations are established there. I mean, there's a reason why that's the case, right? So for sure, Germany, there's a lot of industry as well. We have found, you know, potential partners in Germany that want to bring devices to market, and Ubuntu Touch sounds like an attractive option to them, right? With people we've discussed with, right? We always talk about privacy and so on, and the user freedom and whatnot, right? And we hear that speech much more stronger coming from within Germany than maybe in other areas in Europe, right? But as Florian said, right, it's not so much about where it is, right? It's about the fact that it's somewhere that is rock solid, right? That's what you have to keep in mind, right? Germany is rock solid. This is good. And if we did it there, as Florian said, everybody else should believe that it can be done. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the reason why we didn't take it in Norway is because it's terribly hard to organize anything here, and we are not really that open source friendly here.
Climbing mountains.
We are too busy climbing mountains.
Similarly, in the U.S.
to get there, right?
Similarly, in the U.S., just to give that anecdote, the 501c3 organizations, that's tax code for general nonprofits. If you're trying to do open source software with them, you will basically get audited every year. And that is a extremely expensive process that no one wants to go through. So that wasn't a good option either. Plus, none of the board is actually in America. So that helps too.
And also, one of the things with being in Europe is how strong our privacy is. And compared to United States with net neutrality and all this, it has a lot to do.
While I'm down, why don't you?
Well, yeah. I think many of the big corporation is from America, and that also makes Europe a prime to show off its Europe-ness. So I think that's yeah.
All right. Well, any other closing?
Germany is a little bit in the center of Europe. So basically, if people want to go to an event or something, it's also a nice thing that we say, okay, and from Norway they can come, from Madrid, etc. So basically, Germany is also a good location. It's not just the legal part that's very good, but it's also geological very good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just.
And also, Germany is the biggest country I believe it's the biggest country in Europe, so that also makes it a prime part.
Shaky understanding of geography.
No, not biggest in terms of size. I mean biggest in terms of people and power.
All right.
Power. Oh my God, we're going into special
Oh,
topics.
here we go.
More questions.
No, yeah, Dalton, take it away.
Do you want to? We can take these. Here's a good one. What will be the role of the members of the board of the foundation in the project? So, I will start this by saying those roles don't exactly change. Jan, Marius, and Florian will continue to be on this Q&A. Otherwise, I will come over to Europe and find them and force them to sit in front of the camera so that they are still on the Q&A.
Germany is the biggest in the EU.
Take it away.
No, come on, you're still talking about Germany. Yeah. So roles. Everybody here is a director on the board of the foundation, right?
I'm not.
Well, not doubting it. Sorry. Directorship basically means that you have a degree of executive control as to what happens on that foundation, right? Roles are loosely defined, let's say. We have, however, always found over the past 2 years, found a working relationship where Marius, Jan, and Florian are much closer to the technical aspects of the project, right? Marius and Jan more in particular, and then Florian bridges a little bit more towards the other side, and not the dark side. And Ewald and I, however, I've been working hard on everything related to the other aspects, right? When we're talking about that sounds, all the little people working in a factory room somewhere that nobody ever hears about, but that's how you get your cool clothes done, right? We've been working on the marketing aspects, business development aspects, right? All the financial, all the legal aspects as to all this setup that has been driven to really raise this foundation in Germany. Working with those partners, right? I mean, those phones and things that are being brought up right now with particular partners in the ecosystem, these don't happen just randomly. I mean, these are things that have been tracked upon and worked upon for months, right? And discussed and so on. This is basically the business development effort, right? We will also be the ones, of course, driving more the aspect of raising a sponsorship program, right? A corporate sponsorship program, like I was mentioning before, so we can bring other players like Smooth, right? Multiply that Smooth by 20 other companies that could come in and really support in a structured manner, right? In a recurring manner, right? So yeah, I mean, as I said, the roles are loosely defined, but we do have a working relationship like this over the past 2 years, and we expect it to continue in that manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And just so people don't think that I'm like completely out of the picture here, I am the chairman of the membership committee, which is part of the legal foundation machinations that approves members from the community, companies, members at large, into having voting status in the foundation to vote on official proposals and the board of directors, and I oversee the elections of the board of directors. So
some might see he has more power than us.
Checks and balances.
I think we will come up with some more detailed information for what a member of the foundation will be and what are his duties and his rights and so on, and the benefits. Because again, yesterday somebody asked me, when I become a member of the foundation, which seems to be possible, what is actually changing for myself? And one of the things is this voting right in certain elections. But I think for today, this will completely be too much information and also too long now. And but I think we can come up with those detailed informations. I mean, they are in the statutes, but I think we can break it down for some kind of TLDR or so. Yeah.
And I think, having said that, I mean, this will be an ongoing process over the next few months, right? Where this really ramps up into a well-oiled machine, let's say, from the legal aspect. And this will be an open process, right? So feel free to reach out to all of us over here, right? Now you know 2 more new faces, myself and Ewald, right? We're there on Telegram, we're there on email, we're there, whatever, right? I mean, and if you cannot find them, you can ping any of the other guys, and I'm sure they'll lift up all the rocks that need to be lifted, and they'll find us, right? So for sure, I mean, this is an open process, so feel free to ping us, right? And not only that, we will make the 5 of us, Jan's not here, right? But the 4 of us and Jan will make an effort to make sure that we continue bringing down all the information about what's going on a monthly or bi-weekly basis or whatever from the foundation, right? So the community has visibility into it, even if you're not asking for it, right? We'll give you that visibility. So most likely, I would say that every now and then, at least one representative from the board will be present over here to, take questions and give you more information, right? Especially whenever there are specific points in time that might be happening, like a specific event is coming up, what is the foundation doing to support that or whatever, right? Reports, metrics, marketing campaigns that might be coming out, right? All these things. Of course, our communities are first and foremost a person of interest, let's put it that way, right? All of our communities are VIP of the foundation, right? So you have that first line of information always available. Right?
Absolutely. All right. If you want to see the current statutes for the foundation, I believe they're up to date for the current cycle. You can go to UBports.com and hit that foundation drop down where you will find all of that information. Does anyone have any quick closing thoughts before we finish up here tonight, this morning?
Anyone in the call or anyone?
Yes, in the call.
Well, I mean, I'll say one thing. I just, thank you to all the community, because we're here because there is a community, there is momentum, right? If you guys were not there, if you guys had not done this amazing stuff, there would be no need for us to make it, grow even further, right? So thank you, right? You are the real, you are the foundation, right? We're just a supporting body. We're just some people that give it some structure, right? But the foundation is everyone, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that should do it for today. We're a little bit over time, but I think that's okay. As Ricardo said, I'm sure we'll have him and Ewald back in the future to get everyone,
of course,
grilled. Let's call it that. So thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. I had to get that in somewhere.
That's his opening words normally.
I had to. I was waiting for it the whole hour. You can find us a lot of places, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Mastodon. If you want to chat with us in real time, you can find us on Matrix, Telegram, or IRC. Yeah, I think that covers it.
Forum.
And the forum. You can find links to all of those down in the video description. I believe, how does the great Michael Tennell say it? You should like that smash button and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content. And, of course, join the forum if you'd like to ask questions for our next Q&A. Those questions on the forum do get taken first.
And especially because we didn't answer the technical questions from this Q&A, we will rotate them over to the next one probably and try to answer them by the next time, because there are a few of them are quite interesting. So
absolutely,
excuse ourselves for today where we only covered foundation related stuff, but I think it was worth the cost.
It was worth the losses. Thank you, everyone, once again, and we will see you all in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.